Miles and Wade with the super chat says, just sending love. Hard for me to make these live shows recently. You guys keep on. I'm saying keep on top of it, and I appreciate it. KD4. Oh yeah, let's get to that. 50 Cent got on Billboard and said that he's been working with Nas. Well, he did a feature with Nas, and I think he said he's doing an album with Dr. Dre and Eminem too. Now that could be true, and we'll never hear it. But he also said that Nas, he did a feature for Nas for KD4. Um, do you know anything about the possibility of a KD4, or could we be seeing a Magic 2, or what's going on?
No, none of that. There's a whole show being prepped for.
Okay.
Like, there's
So
a whole show. Like,
no
that's what I mean.
KD4 is being worked on, as far as you know.
No, like literally,
Do
like
you think it would be
nothing.
a good idea to do a KD4?
I mean, that depends on how this show goes. Like,
Uh,
like it's
so,
rehearsal time. Like that's what I mean. You want to know what's crazy about 50 saying that? It's like this is during rehearsal time, nigga. It's
hmm.
rehearsal time.
So are
It's
you
showtime.
inferring that there's a possibility if this show goes the way that it is wanted and expected that there could be a KD4?
No, no, no. What I'm saying is you're dealing with an artist who's 50. It's financially free. So it's really like whatever the fuck he kind of like wants to do next. So it's like we'll see what happens after the show. I just know the show right now is the focus. Now I was told that like him and 50 may do something, but it's not attached to any sort of project with any sort of KD4 involved. And like, I mean, just mostly like Nas and Hit haven't confirmed that. So it's like,
Right.
right. I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't Hit like with Benny right now? Like
Yep.
working
Yep.
on, right.
They're
So it's
working
like,
on some heat too, sounds like.
right. So it's like, I don't know how all of that is necessarily coming together per se when, said rapper is rehearsing for a big Madison Square event in like literally about what, 2 weeks? It's
About two
literally about
weeks.
2 weeks from
And we
today.
got to talk about that too. I wanted to hit you, offline so, we can make sure that, we in the building and, it's going to be an exciting event. I want to ask you something though, just you personally, outside of, just any conversations you may have had with Plug or whatever. Would you, as a fan, like to see a KD4 or a Magic 2? Or something all new together? If you had a choice.
None of the above. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This is what I mean about how the glove changed my mind about a lot of stuff. It's like, this is the music business. And for everything else that he has going on, and for even the other avenues that he could travel through within the hip hop format to get money, I don't know if it's necessarily the wisest music business decision to go and make another album. Right now, I would prefer to see a feature run, and most notably, a feature run with a younger crop of artists that's going to bring a new level and a new fan base of notoriety to him that makes the process for him of making. And I would pick KD. I would pick a KD4 over a Magic 2. Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
if I was having, I would prefer that it go like that than just to be like, oh, well, back in album mode, because it's like, well, quite frankly, I don't see the purpose of that if it's not, gonna move the way that it should move for the product. I mean, like think about how we talk about KD3, the music product. Like it's supposed to reflect, like in the manner that we talk about the Chronic and Doggy Style, and we can look at the numbers, be like, oh, well, it reflects. And that's not to say KD3 is a Chronic or Doggy Style because it's not, but it still needs to reflect.
Yeah.
And I think the best way of letting it reflect is kind of what he did with Savage. And even though you may not like it, Mike, I was actually meaning to hit the plug about this too. It's like I'm kind of curious about what EPMD2 did numbers wise. Because
Mm-hmm.
putting Eminem on a record gets you a different type of traction
Of
that you
course it
speak of.
does. No, I mean,
Right.
no, no,
Well,
no.
I would. Well, how about this, Mike? I mean, you may not like it, but it's like I prefer that he worked with Eminem and 21 Savage because that seems to be making more sense. That turn into dollars, has in cents instead of the cents. That is like making people. Oh, well, he's the greatest MC of all time. It's like that's great. You're an Illmatic fan, and that really has nothing to do with today.
I guess I look at it different because I feel like, obviously music money is not really, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the music business is a great business for artists to get in to actually build a level of notoriety so that they can get into other more lucrative businesses. But the business of music itself right now is nowhere near as lucrative as many other ventures I'm sure he has going on. So I guess I don't think that, the music being monetarily, super lucrative in that sense. I don't think that he has to compromise the quality of it to do that. You know what I mean? I don't think he's at that point in his career, and obviously he has a whole lot of other stuff going on that even if he did have the biggest record in the world, still couldn't match some of the deals that he's doing, right? You know
No,
what I
no, no.
mean?
It's not that, Mike. It's that he need to make money off of it. Like
No, no,
it's
no. You don't want to be
like
in the red on it.
right, right. It's
Yeah,
like, how about this? Is it's like, well, I mean, Nas shouldn't have to do shows to pay for an album.
I agree.
Like in terms of like in terms of like balancing a budget on a
No, I
balance
agree
sheet.
with
It's
that.
like, okay, we spent this for KD3 and we made this off of KD3, which means in order for that money to balance itself out, well, this show right here and this show right there takes care of that. That's not supposed to go down like that when you are, arguably the greatest MC of all time, according to Billboard and Vibe, the third greatest of MC of all time. You actually do have a litany. Like Mike, when you look at really check his catalog, it's like, no, he has a litany of like hit records.
Did
You
you
know what I'm
see
saying?
DJ Academic's list? He
I saw it briefly this
he
morning,
actually
but it's
had
hard to.
Nas at number two. And again,
Yeah,
I
he
don't think,
should.
and he's a super Drake fan. He had Drake at number one. He had Nas at two and Jay at three.
Well, I
This
mean, Drake and
doesn't,
Nas like
huh?
have a good relationship, and Academics probably knows that. So that's
Yeah.
probably not too far fetched in Academics' mind, knowing what he probably knows behind the scenes too.
And I also feel like this KD run has been important for that. Now, I think we might not see it in the mainstream because obviously the mainstream media is going to ignore Nas as much as possible. Even when, KD 1 came out, they were trying to bash it until they got backlash from the people on that bullshit. So I think that even with those things not being, I guess, out there on the mainstream, people who really pay attention to hip hop and pay attention to the culture, Nas has really inserted himself to a different generation that has him over Jay. Because let's keep it real. Somebody who's 25 years old, what reason do they have to put Jay over Nas?
But this is what I'm
You know
saying.
what I
So it's
mean?
like, so when you're telling him, so if you're asking me, like, we'll do KD4 right now or do Magic 2 right now, it's like, oh hell no, why would you do that? Like right
No,
now,
I agree
like,
with
'cause
what
this
you're
is
saying. I think that if he does a feature run that leads up to something like this, I think that'd be awesome.
But this is what I'm saying. Like that, listen to what I'm saying. Doing that and making the money off of that can pay for the album as well, depending on
Hmm.
the artist that you're working with. And it's Nas. And one of the things about it is like, and this is what's been I think here's what's been so revelatory about these last few years for the public that maybe has been known behind the scenes or in the room, like the Glove would say. Well, all these young dudes really want to work with him.
Hmm.
And so him getting these verses and pushing these numbers with them is not a problem. And maybe the money therein is produced before the album off of music to thereby make that more reasonable and more palatable. Because I'm telling you
I
what,
see what
Mike,
you're
like
saying.
you get what I'm saying? So I'm talking about like what makes sense business wise for it to make sense because it's like
Because you
we
want
ain't
the
questioning
music
the
to pay for the
quality of what's
music.
going on, are we? We're officially not, well, how the beat's gonna sound, or is it gonna be this, or is it gonna be that? It's like, no, 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 we done with that.
Yeah.
So it's like about, well, does it make sense for him at 50 years old, as hip hop is turning 50 with all these ventures, to go down that road?
Right. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick. Jay Short says, Coop, I know you don't forgot about Keep the Beat. I said, hold on. I know you don't forget Keep the Beat or Don't Sweat the Technique or Stay a While, off of 18th Letter. Both R&B style cuts, and they were discreet. Yeah.
No,
Rakim
I'm
got
not
that
saying the
R&B
guy
flow
can't
and
do
all. Yeah.
R&B. He made Mahogany. I think Mahogany might still be like a top 5 or 10 like rap love song. Like I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying he hasn't done a lot of R&B centered guest appearance tracks. Stay a While is his record. Mahogany, his record.
Yeah, but they have an R&B flavor, yeah.
Yeah,
Andrea
definitely.
Green with the super chat says, didn't hear y'all talk about the Grammy performances yet. We should talk about that. What do y'all think about Big Boy being up there and celebrating 50 years of hip hop with no Andre sighting? Also, God Did's performance. Well, to answer your first question, that's predictable. Big Boy's here. He's here for the culture. He's here to represent the Outcast brand.
Well, I actually wanted to, and I don't know if we're going to have time to. I kind of wanted to go down a little Big Boy hole a little bit because,
We can do
but I'm
that.
glad.
We got to make
Well, I'm
time for
glad that
that.
he's getting. I'm glad that we're bringing it up because, often too, I think people think that we just ride for certain people, and really we just ride. At least for me, I try to ride for what's right,
Yeah.
and
Try to be fair, man.
and it's really this whole Big Boy thing and the disrespect, like it's really bothering me, Mike. And it's hard for me to separate it from somebody who was raised in Atlanta from it being an Atlanta thing. So I've been really spending the last couple of weeks trying to step back and look at it objectively. Like, and no, objectively everybody fucking up, Mike. Like the Atlanta, like take the Atlanta in my heart out and let's just look at it for what it is. And it's like, how about this? Let's say that by some chance Andre is Michael Jordan and Big Boy is Scottie Pippen. You do understand that Scottie Pippen is still on the top 50 and top 75 greatest players list, even though most people might have Mike at number one. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
So even if you are giving him Scottie Pippen treatment, and listen to what I'm saying, by not having him in the top 50 and having Dre at 12, you're not even giving him Scottie Pippen treatment.
And and
he's a Hall of Fame MC.
To get to that correlation, we knew what Michael Jordan was and who he was and what he was about before Scottie Pippen even came along. And even when Scottie Pippen came along, there were times where Jordan had to carry the team. There were flu games and things like that where, Scottie Pippen was dealing with his back. That happens. There's been no moments as a rapper where we could sit here and say, you know what, Dre held that down. You know what I mean? Under the Outkast brand and umbrella. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got guest features, but those same guest features can be combated with Big Boy's great guest features.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to do, Mike, because I actually want to pull up the Outkast catalog, and then I want to pull up their features, and then I want to pull up Big Boy's catalog so we're clear about who belongs of these two on the top 50 list, because it's like this. That would be... It's just like where? Like, what are you listening to? Because it's like, and here's what I mean. I want to run down the records, Mike. The more that I run through their records, I'm like, Big Boy could have had a hell of a solo career.
Yeah. MC with the super chat says, can we call out Nas and Jay for enabling Khaled? But I want to speak to that God Did performance too. Did you see that at the Grammys?
No.
I thought it was pretty awesome. And I think that...
What was it, The Last Supper?
It was The Last Supper, yes. Now, one thing I didn't love...
We're just going to stack the blasphemy up is what you're saying. We're just going...
Well, that's a whole nother episode, and y'all can go on YouTube and, see our breakdown of the individual verse. My critique here is about the performance. I thought the performance was impressive because you could tell Jay was sauced up that night. He was amped up. And for you to get on the Grammy stage, live television, I believe it was live, and knock out a 4-minute verse... And I mean, I got to give it to him. It's dope. And again, I think one of the biggest things that adds to Jay-Z's repertoire as an MC and all-time great is that incredible memory that he has, man. Like, his memory is second to none. I would say 2 things that separate him from everybody else. Conversational Jay and that incredible memory. And that memory was on full display when he did that verse. It was perfect.
I think Big's memory would be right there, but yeah. I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it is that I didn't watch the performance because I just don't like the song that much.
Yeah, and that's fair. Again, I'm a person that can kind of take all that out and be like, look, let me judge the performance, the songs, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like watching a video for what it is and just judging the quality of the video production without considering the song. You know what I mean?
But it's just like Glove said. It's like it's about the stuff that you choose to take in. It's like I choose not to take some of that stuff in. It's like it's one thing. Like there's blasphemy in jest to show your talent as an MC, and then there's just like blatant, and it's like I don't like. Yeah,
I feel you.
Everybody got boundaries, Mike.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says.
Get you some.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Academic like Nas because Nas said that he was a legend. I think Academic feels like Nas accepted him before other legends. Academic had Rakim on his list too. Yes, he did. I mean, it's impressive. Leroy Green with the Super Chat says, there are no KDs better than Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Blueprint, Black Album, American Gangster. Watch the Throne or 444. What are we talking about? It's funny you say that, Leroy, because I actually listened to KD, KD2, and KD3 and Magic yesterday, and those are some really dope. I really forgot how dope KD1 was.
KD1 is dope.
KD1 is really dope, and I think it got understated because we didn't see the whole trilogy coming. This I will tell you. And Leroy Green,
it's just not as good as the other projects. That's the only problem with KD1 is KD2 and 3 and Magic.
Leroy's naming Jay-Z's best 3 albums. We're not even talking about Nas's best 3 albums. So I think even bringing up Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, and the Black Album are a little bit out of line. But I will say,
as much as I love Volume 1, I don't know.
KD3 is better than Volume 1.
Huh?
KD3 is better than Volume 1.
And maybe 2.
Maybe 2 as well. Magic is
better.
I think all 3 of those albums are actually better than American Gangster too, and I love American Gangster.
I agree.
And I think all 4 of those albums are better than 444.
Well, that's because they are.
Yeah, Watch the Throne's not a Jay-Z album, so we got to stop that.
And it's better than all of those. How about this? I think KD1's better than Watch the Throne, and that would probably be the weakest project of the 4.
And the fact that you got to throw Watch the Throne in there just lets us know what it is. How about we do this, Leroy? Let's do the last 4 albums from the artist. Solo albums, right? So now we got KD3, we got KD2, we got Magic, we got KD1. So for Jay, that goes 444, Magna Carta, the Blueprint 3, and then American Gangster. Man, we got to go all the way back to 2007. So we're talking about a 16-year span versus 4 years of work, huh? Come on, guys.
Start off strong, then you
wheezing in the back.
You gotta watch what you say out here.
Like I said, man.
You gotta watch what you say out here.
Like I said, Coop, what real reason would a 25-year-old have to say that Jay-Z's better than Nas?
I never thought about it like that till you said that, but I was like, think about it. A 25-year-old right now, when Nas was dropping Nasir, that was what, 2018? 2018?
Yep.
Well,
that was sick. Well, what?
Well, let's say they're 25 right now. They were 20.
Mm-hmm.
Jay's done nothing since then. They don't even. They're hearing stories and they're seeing like Beyonce and like the lifestyle, but it's like musically speaking, I never looked at it that way. But you're making some valid points with that. It's
American
like
Gangster was 16 years ago. A 25-year-old was 9 years old when American Gangster dropped.
Yeah, and it's like, and also too, the money in hip hop has changed.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says, "Coop, do you know why Nas hasn't had more videos?"
I think I just actually highlighted and outlined it when I was talking about.
I don't think people really watch videos like that, right?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So y'all want Nas to go, let's say, blow $150,000 of his own cash to give you a video for an album that, like, y'all haven't. You get what I'm saying? It's like, that's why it's like it got to start making sense. It's like, oh, no. If what Andre say on Elevators to talk about one of his better verses that we actually quote, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck. That's what's going on. And it's like people like, oh, he got it like that. It's like you as a businessman or woman would not take money from your balance sheet over here and keep sliding it over here to feed a populace that's not really supporting it like they should. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I just
it's
think
not good business.
Anybody has to put money into things that are going to make you money. It's just
no. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, well, if you want him to do another video, I suggest y'all strong arm, like, like all these people that are doing like the radio injustices like I do. But mostly I suggest you buy more merch, vinyl, go to the show. You get what I'm saying? That's what I mean is it's like, no. It needs to make sense. That's why it's like, no. We'll even see what the merchandising and the notoriety that this show brings and how that turns and reflects into dollars because it's the music business. And it's like listen to what the Glove was saying when he was talking about the firm going platinum and they was being disappointed. That's because they're used to going triple and quadruple platinum. So how do you think hip-hop's greatest MC feels about doing 27,000 copies?
No, that's real. I mean, I think that his fan base, his real fan base, and I think it's really important to have a real fan base.
Real fan base, other people don't talk about Illmatic all the time.
Well, no, I ain't talking about the Illmatic people. I think those are like in the closet haters. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to act like they're fan. That's not real. I'm talking about the real fan base. Because I mean, the real fan base was in our station head that didn't even want to hear any songs from Illmatic. But what I was gonna say though, I think that real fan base does their job. I think the one thing, you hit the nail on the head, that the real fan base has to continue to do, and it doesn't happen overnight, put pressure on these people in New York radio specifically and shine a light on them, because their radio play, that could change the trajectory of what these streams are generating financially. Because the reach that they have, they play the shit one time, that shit counts for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of streams just off of one play, and they refuse to do what's right by their own legends. And I think that the fans could definitely put pressure on that aspect.
And see, and here's what I mean about here's the jealousy aspect of it that you have to understand. All these people that could be playing these records for him and making it happen, you have to understand, the man that's pushing the button is literally thinking in the back of his mind, well, Nas already good.
Right.
You feel me? That's a poisonous frame of mind to have. You get what I'm saying? That's a poisonous frame of mind to have. That's that fruit from the poisonous tree, like, that gets us uprooted. I'm seriously, like, as a people, when we let our oppressors dictate how we push those buttons, and people are like, oh, well, everybody got a boss. It's like, you want to know what, man? Like, sometimes you need to tell your boss, fuck you, I got this.
And sometimes you got to walk away from the situation. Like, people can say whatever they want about Ye, and, you're welcome to your own opinion. But he chose to walk away from these situations, and as a result, Adidas, they're losing $1.3 billion this year. And you know what? And most people don't want to take those sacrifices and show the corporations or their boss that they are the draw.
Can I tell you something? Like, and I want to shout him out for this. Ebro right now and what he's been doing by playing Nas's records is proof that it's like, no, it's not that person upstairs that's totally got say-so. They do have some say-so. Because I'm going to tell you what, I don't know what's happened. And it was probably just listening to the quality of like what you would call quote-unquote real hip-hop that is KD3. I call KD3 modernized hip-hop. Like modernized, like core hip hop. Like it's not Illmatic or Paid in Full or like Criminal Minded, like in terms of like that core hip hop aesthetic. It's modern day fundamental hip hop. And Ebro probably heard that shit and was like, what more can this nigga do?
Yeah.
Like, what more can fam do? Like, Ebro know his shit, and he listening to the project, and he just reached the point where he like, nah, fuck that. I'm playing this shit, and shout out to him for doing it. Now,
because at the end of the day, his credibility would take a hit for not fucking with something like this. You can't even give a reason why you're not playing a record like Get Light or Reminisce.
No, like, and he's been playing it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Now, here's my thing. Now,
I think the people did that, man. You guys did that.
No, but see, no. Like, I'm going to tell you what, just because I like him and I don't care for some other people as much, I've actually been following Ebro and how he's been moving through all this. I'm like, no. That ain't just the people. That ain't us. Like, something's been triggered within this man. I'm telling you, where he's just good. Like,
he knows his shit.
Like him and Nas about the same age. Him and Nas came into the game at their respective craft around the same time. And he kind of looks at the situation maybe a little differently. Like hold on, like how am I not gonna play fan?
Well, that's good
You
to
know
hear, man, because I know Ebro knows his shit, and
and,
I haven't been
but also
following it
too,
like you have. But yeah, that's good to hear.
but you have to. But this is what I'm saying. Like he sits in a very enviable and fortunate position in what we do. And when he's doing something like that, I just hope the other people that are beneath him in that genre, and we're one of those people, whether we like it or not, like are paying attention, because I have been, and I mean paying attention and actually like starting to do something about it. Like he's actually trying to do something, and he's not doing it by talking, he's playing the fucking records.
Well, that's good, and that's all we ask for. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Legit is not being a single with a video is a crime."
No, people not supporting it so that it can be financially feasible is a crime. Stop asking this man to go spend $250,000 to make a video of his own money. Like, I'm not doing that for you. Like, I'm telling you right up and down. Like, you got to look at it like this. It's like, well, do you have a family? Well, so does he. Do you have bills and responsibilities? Well, so does he. Like, people look at it, it's like, Mike, the most money that I've ever made is the most money I ever spent. You feel me?
Right. Mad Max in the super chat says, also a lot of younger people have come around to Nas because of Pac. Most Pac fans today like Nas because of the content similarities and Nas being a word genius.
Yes.
That's very prophetic, and that makes sense. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Nas should use Drillmatic as a blueprint for the next album. Keep an eye on the streams with a lot of bangers, features, and young artists.
See, but this is what I mean. So it's like, how about this? I realize guys like me asking for a Raekwon feature are part of the problem in all this process. You feel me?
Well, he gave us an ASAP feature, and I love that.
No. And that's what I mean. Like, no. That's the move that's working right now. It's like people like me that want that Ray feature have to understand that for both of those guys, outside of the quality of what's going to come, because they always do quality work together, that's what's going to come, and that's not fair to either one of their legendary statuses.
They've done that before. And not
They've
to say,
done
like,
that before.
Yeah. And let's just be perfectly honest, guys. Like, whatever they do from here on out is not going to trump in the minds of the people who wanted what they previously did.
Well, here's what I'm saying, Mike. Well, maybe if they knew that the people who were supposed to play these types of records would play those types of records, maybe it would be happening. But because those people can't seem to get their shit together in radio, media, and TV, that's why these things don't happen. It's like, and that's what I mean is that my eyes are different now. It's because, well, these things don't occur, not about people not wanting to do it. Like, it literally needs to make sense and benefit them. This isn't 95, fam. They don't need to get on the infamous and do eye for an eye. You feel me? This ain't 95, nigga.